Hi, and welcome to Meet Our Ex Success Stories podcast. I'm coach and host Amanda Lea, and today I'm here with a woman who has acquired quite a few admirers in our fat burning community through over a decade of her inspirational role modeling. She's an author, speaker, consultant, and YouTuber, known also on Instagram as Stephanie Ketogenic. Thanks so much for sharing with us today, Stephanie Person.
Woohoo! Wait, where's the whistle? Okay.
So thanks for coming. Let's jump right into your story. Please tell us all about your diet and health before you began eating the way you currently do.
Before I started eating keto and into carnivore, I ate the same junk as everybody else did. Like cereal was my gourmet food. You could have cereal for breakfast and cereal for dinner. I'm not even kidding. Like easy, we'll make it easy, right? Easy breezy cereal. And I thought it was healthy because I was eating mostly with sugar, honey, and junk on it. But no, I ate the same thing as everybody else ate. And it gave me a bunch of amalgam fillings in my mouth, which I thought was normal. Like each year I'd be like 12. Oh, you have another cavity. And my mom would be like, oh, let's just go destroy her teeth and put amalgam fillings in. But I was a kid that was never really overweight. I was super active. I've done sports my whole life. I had very, very bad menstrual cramps, which I also thought was normal. Candida that was growing. My skin was getting like rashy, but my mom thought it was like the oil of Olay lotion, because I'm in my 50s like Sean. So that was what was popular in the 70s and the 80s, early 80s. And just those small things. Started to develop constipation in my probably teen years, thought that was normal. In fact, I remember, because I used to be a pro skater, so I remember when I went to skateboard competition, and so because I'm from California, I was born in LA. Went to a competition, and of course the competitions were always like 3 or 4 days. We were like smashed in a hotel room, like 30 skaters. And part of being with 30 skaters is that you didn't want to poop, but then I really wasn't trying to poop because I was constipated because my gut was messed up. And I remember like going a whole week without pooping and just thinking that was natural, but I digress. We don't want to talk about that. So ended up going off to Europe, and I was touring. And I remember, because when you're in Europe, you don't have you do have McDonald's, but things close at like 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening. So you would be eating gas station food at that point, which would be, well, in German, it would be Bratwurst, and in Swedish, it would be, it's called korven, för att jag bodde I Sverige många år, which means that I lived in Sweden for a long time. So they have a thing called korven. And one day I woke up, and I was like, it's so gross. You just lose your appetite because you're just eating junk. So that mentally in my early 20s wanted to start eating better. But I was living in Sweden. I was in a competition. I busted my knee. I used to be a pro skater. I used to skate with Tony Hawk on big vert ramps, all this kind of stuff. First African-American pro skater in history. We get what? Woo, woo, woo. And I was famous for that. So it's very weird to most people don't know that I skateboard. Like that was my identity before, which is very weird. Anyway, I transitioned into eating cleaner there because of course it's a lot easier in Europe because kids for a very long time only ate candy on Saturdays. Like we should have that here, right? Junk food Saturdays, that's it. Home cooked food otherwise. I ended up moving back to the States, and my mom was hit with a thing called, a glioblastoma, 1% less than survived this thing. And it was so advanced. It was like, it wasn't caught early on. The thing was that big in her head, like burk. And they're like, nope, she's a goner. Long story short, she's a goner. And so my brother and I were literally, burial plot, everything like, well, that mama's going to go. That's it. And I had heard about the ketogenic diet. Now, my brother first came in and tried to do it almost like a vegan diet. And I was like, I was like in my gut, like people are like, were you ever vegan? I'm like, oh, hell to the nut. No. Somehow I always knew that was unhealthy. I don't know how, but I just knew that was unhealthy. And I was like, no, I've heard of this ketogenic diet. Let's try to put her on that. So put my mom on a high fat diet of eating at the time butter and coconut oil, which now I don't even count coconut oil as being ketogenic, but that's all, or MCT oil. That's a whole nother story. But I don't know if she survived a glio, which no one survives because of this application of keto. I don't know, because we did a lot of stuff, my brother and I, a lot, but she's still alive. And so to get her to eat this ketogenic way, I had to do it with her. So I did it with her. And I remember the first 3 days, I'm like, I won't be able to work out. I'm going to have no energy. And I was like, oh, I can work out. Okay, well, let's keep this going. But at this time of 12 years ago, it was like almond flour and almond butter. And I was eating a ton of that. I was just like, oh, this stuff is so good. And, eating all the high oxalate foods. And eventually I started finding out people are having histamine responses. I started refining this ketogenic diet, started upping the fat. I started taking away and I was the first person who said no meats, no nuts, no cheese, no caffeine. And I would say it's salicylates, oxalates, goitrogens, and nightshades. I used to say those every video. This is like 7 years ago, but I was still eating them. Like, I would say it and not really understand what I was saying. I knew that plants had poison, but I didn't think about it beyond that. But I knew that people were having a histamine response from the cheese and from the nuts and from the caffeine. So today, when I saw Sean on Joe Rogan, which I used to watch Joe Rogan all the time, but anyway, I started seeing he was censored and he wasn't saying, I got bored, but I switched to so I did keto and I started coaching people on ketogenic diet. I know you're not asking for this. I'm just rambling because I know you want
We love your ramble. Please don't let me stop you. We love it.
Okay. So when I did keto the first 4 years, I had electrolyte issues. No. I had a hypoglycemia reaction issues, crashed in the afternoon. But I was eating a lot of stuff that's not very ketogenic. And I was making like pancakes and ice cream and have videos making this stuff in the very beginning. And still having a lot of oils in my diet, junk like this. What else? So then I started upping my fat, and when I upped it to over 200 grams, because I know Sean's like, so tell me about this fat and not gaining weight thing. And I was like, honey, I know we only had 20 minutes, so I will not go into it. But yeah, I mean, I've been having people use glucometers over the years. And that's how I started coming up with my macro. No, you didn't ask that stuff. You asked about my diet. But I started coming up with playing with macros with clients, with myself, and I started noticing certain outcomes. So a high fat diet was very advantageous. And so I had people eat cruciferous vegetables. I was eating cruciferous vegetables. At one point, everybody was telling people to quit stuff that they loved, but I would still keep up with the stevia and the faux pancakes and all this. And I felt really, really bad. So I was like, I'm a hypocrite because I'm eating so much stevia. So I quit. And so I have not had stevia in 3 years. So I cut it out. And then once I cut out the stevia, I was like, well, then I don't need all the other stuff I was trying to make pancakes with and stuff like that. So I cut that all out. And I was just doing a, cruciferous vegetable, avocado, high fat, butter, lard, and tallow. And, but I wasn't eating a lot of vegetables, to be honest. So when I saw Sean, then I was like, I'm going to try this whole thing. And that's when those other carnivore people like Milk Jar and Sverige, his name is not Sverige. I hate that. Irritates me. It's Sverige. It means Sweden, even though he's not Swedish. And I was watching that and I was just like, they were all into high meat at that time. I was like, maybe that would work. Maybe bacterial imbalance in the gut. But I kept thinking that's so damn dangerous. So I tried to make this high meat stuff. And I was like, I'm not eating this. If there's any botulism, I wouldn't know. It's not tested. I ain't eating this crap. No, I'm not doing this. But I still became curious on it. And I tried the whole raw meat thing. I was like, man, I'm cooking my food so rare anyway. I don't need to eat no raw meat. I did. I ate raw beef, lean. I would cure it in a little salt and eat that raw. And it was good. It was good. Continued to evolve. I got a book deal. Who tears up a book deal because of their morals? Stephanie.
That's so cool.
I know. And I could have made serious money, but first of all, I didn't like the book deal. I'm not gonna say the percentages, but what I would have made after paying off the editors and the graphic, like the layout people, I'm like, I make no money, and I'm putting out stuff I don't believe in, and you're putting out books I don't believe in. It was like really weighing on my moral conscience. And so, like I had said to Sean, I had made all these recipes, and I was just like, yo, this don't feel right. It just don't feel right. I feel pressure to put out this thing, and what's going to happen in a couple of years? Am I going to be proud of this book? So I tore it up. Thank God I tore up that book. Oh, honey. But then people are like, where's your book? I was like, oh. I didn't want to talk about it for the first like year and a half after I tore up the deal. I told them, I was like, can we tear this up? And I was really out to get them to agree to the getting rid of the contract. I was a real pain in the ass. I was so annoying. I was like, they had a girl, listen to this total gossip. Y'all listen right now, okay? I had a woman, sweet as can be. She came to me to give me an interview. We went to a place called Sharky's. I got my little protein bowl. Like, you know, not the, it's just meat and some avocado. I bring my own fat. And her husband was there. She wasn't eating. And I was like, he ate and she didn't eat. And she was interviewing me for hours, almost like, okay, I'm going to take this note for my material and my material and my material. I was like, she asked me too many questions for this stuff. And then she didn't eat. And I said, so how's your ketogenic journey? And she says, I actually haven't started yet. I'm like, you write blogs on the diet. And she's like, oh, but I went to I studied biology. I go, I don't care. You know me with my outspoken voice. I was like, how can you write about something you've never experienced? Ooh, that didn't sit right with me. She was sweet. Anyway, 6 months later, a book arrived at because they sent me the books, right? They would send me the books of the other authored people that were on the ketogenic diet. And I was like, 6 months later, I was like, that was it. That was the last straw. I was like, tear up the contract. Nope. No.
Good for you. Wow.
So no one knows this story, okay? Y'all are hearing it for the first time.
The goss.
Right? I tore up that thing. I was like, no. So I continued, and now I was like, I want to learn about physiology in the human body. And what I noticed was women have issues. A lot of men don't understand that. They can analytically read studies, they can analytically analyze it, but unless your hormones going cray-cray, okay, you don't know. And a woman's body is so complicated, guys. Yo, if they didn't destroy their gut wall, because that's their problem, have high blood pressure, if they didn't and have visceral fat, it would be so easy. They have it easy. So most of my clients are women, and of course I get men too, but noticing the histamine, the menstrual cycle issues, the swelling of the legs, the puffiness, the PMS, the everything, right? The endometriosis, the menstrual cycle, the infertility. That's when I was like, okay, and the gallbladder all day. Why do women have more gallbladder issues? You know, why do women have more thyroid issues than men do? So of course it's going to ping me on the inside. I'm for the people. Holla. So that's the direction of my diet, myself. That's the direction of my coaching with people. I will not sit and go, this person ate this much meat, you should eat it too. I will not. I actually think that's stupid to do that. I think that people need to understand if they've got low stomach acid, if they have hypochlorhydria, because if you've got issues with urea, purines, you can't filtrate that through the kidneys. That's my last video. You guys are eating a ton of meat, and then you've got issues with dehydration because your electrolytes are off. You don't sleep well, you're chronically dehydrated, your lymphatic system's swelling you up like a balloon. You want to get a rebounder so you can dry brush the fluid around, and then you eat a bunch of meat, And then you have hypochlorhydria, and boom, you can start having 3-4 problems. You're constipated, hair's falling out, and kidneys hurt. So the direction of my diet has evolved with my age as a woman, specifically as a woman, and also with the people that I work with. And so today, I'm doing a carnivore diet except for the avocado. Now, there's the whole thing like, you're not carnivore. And I was like, I don't care what you call it. I don't care. We call it the badass Stephanie diet, okay? Because that's what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Love that.
I'm so tired of these labels, right? Like I was like, snore, put me to sleep. But if you're going to do anything that requires eating protein or types of protein or the amount of protein, you have to understand where your existing health is. That's the same thing with the intermittent fasting thing, which I freaking hate, because people don't do it for autophagy. They don't even know what that is. They do it because they want to lose weight. And if you want to lose weight, now I sound like sarcastic. Stephanie, reel it back. See, this is where people are like, I don't like her. She's so sarcastic. I'll sound softer. Wait a minute.
No, don't change.
This is how people want me to sound. Yeah, so when I start working with women, it really gets me in my heart because, you know, they fast. When they fast, they become infertile. The hair starts falling out, but they lose a lot of weight on the scale, and everybody else says it's so wonderful. And you look at other givers, and they look wonderful. I mean, they're completely honest. They never tell you if they have a bad day. So, yeah. So I'm an advocate. If I was not an advocate, I'd be rich, bitch, right now. Because you just put my little black chunky ass in a bikini in my 50s, and I promote weight loss on the diet, the amazing Stephanie, you know, carnivore, whatever, keto, blah, blah, I'd be a rich bitch. And I can't. I just can't. I can't. It makes me sick. So I actually had to unplug myself from following anyone else because I feel like you're so influenced. And being on the internet, it's you just want to make everybody happy, and then you make your bank account happy, and it's a win-win, right? And so for me, I'd rather have people dislike me and not be pacified with broad strokes that things are so easy, just follow what I did. I don't even like for people to know what I eat. None of your damn business. Okay, you ate me because I'm super Steph.
I love that. We love your honesty. We're all reaping the benefits of your honesty. So please keep it up. Don't change. So, okay. So what I'm getting is that you're eating a lot of meat apart from avocado. Fat is super important. A lot more fat than meat.
That's number one.
Okay. So it's like a 2-to-1 ratio, or you have a specific breakdown that you have?
I do. And I'll calm down. I'm being really silly right now.
No, I love it.
I'm not like this in person. People laugh with me and we laugh together, and that's what I really love. Yeah.
And stop laughing since we met. But I wanted to know, but I'm curious to know about what you're saying about the intermittent fasting and about organ meats and all of those things that you incorporate now in your way of eating. Love to hear more about that.
Okay.
And so you don't intermittent fast at all then? Or you
Hell no. Hell no. No. Okay. Sean, I love you. I do. And I respect you, Sean. I do. But I'm going to say stuff that you're going to hate. Just don't hate me. Okay. What I'm speaking about is experience and years of it. And like I said, if we were hunter-gatherers, we wouldn't have this discussion. You can intermittent fast all you want. But the problem as modern humans, we have destroyed our energy balance. We have destroyed our guts. We have destroyed our endocrine system. And that is your insulin and your sex hormones and your adrenal hormones. And we destroy them as a modern human. I'm very jealous of these hunter-gatherer societies. I wish I had the gut that they have. I don't have it. And we literally destroy ourselves with technology and false light and toxins and pesticides and garbage. And like I said, I have helicopters flying over for the riots that happen blocks from my apartment. And people have lost their minds. and they are hormonally imbalanced. Their nutrition is atrocious. And now we're finding that these diets are therapeutic, but within the therapeutic measures, people become obsessed with weight loss. And I tell people, you will reach your desired aesthetic health when you change your thinking. It is the between the two ears that is preventing you from losing weight. If weight loss is your main, focus, a focal point, your mantra, you're never going to reach your goal ever, because there is no pill in the bottle for weight loss. It requires a lifetime of fixing damage that we've done to our bodies. And so when these trends come up and people do this, people should be doing carnivore to heal a broken body. Because a broken body that's fixed does not need to hold on to fat that can create visceral fat around the organs and kill you. So if you continue to damage your endocrine system by fasting, and if you had no problem with your insulin, then it's not a problem fasting. Who has completely balanced A1C, blood glucose control, and insulin? Not that many people. And if they do have control over it, they tend to be younger, or they tend to be people who've been healthy for a very long time. But normal people who live their lives with children and jobs, and they don't have time to go and find and source their local farm, and get their foods picked out and understand their existing health. Well, dang, doctors for years been lying to you. So you go do a thyroid test and it's normal, but you have thyroid symptoms, right? You've got hypoglycemia. They think you're depressed. So they give you an SSRI, which is an antidepressant medication. These are facts, okay? These are true facts. And it's not talked about that much in this society about the impact of how higher ups will confuse you in the conventional wisdom and get you on the wrong path, and you run into these alternative dietary measures. Let's say they like the carnivore diet, the keto diet, or the keto carnivore diet, the integration of both together. And people will do it and desperate. But then again, everybody, we want a pill. We want things to be quick overnight. So I want my skin to clear up overnight. I want to get a baby right away. I want to fit into my favorite jeans, and I want to have tight skin, and I don't want to have creepy skin, and I want to get rid of my wrinkles and all the stuff I hear all day long. The main thing is weight loss, though. And so when people fast, sorry for the big long thing, but when people fast and they have hypoglycemia, that means they are more insulin resistant. That means that their insulin is not regulated. So their pancreas is shooting out bolus amounts of insulin. It goes from high to low. Now they have a hard time with glucagon bringing it up to the middle. And everything in your 24-hour day will keep you in that sick state, including what's between the two ears. So it is often, I use the response that poverty is difficult. And the reason why I've said that is because I've traveled to a lot of impoverished countries in my life. I lived outside of the US for 16 fracking years. And me as a brown skinned person, I like to slide right into the ghettos of Soweto and, in Tanzania and Sinza. And I mean, we're talking the favelas, and everywhere I go, and I like to be where the people be. And I've been in some situations where I've been embarrassed. I'm embarrassed from where I come from because we have it so easy. I'm embarrassed that I nitpick in my mind at something. I feel stupid when I watch stuff. When you're watching malnutrition and you're seeing people sick and dying, I mean, it changes you. You can't even get no dang fresh water. So to make this, trying to shorten this longer story, when I see people fast because they want weight loss, it irritates me. Stop trying to be in a hurry. Stop trying to get your food in a package. Slow down. It's worth it. And try to understand who you are and what life means and what's going on with your body. Because when you do, you won't care. I live in Hollywood. This is the land of the models. I'm bored. They're insecure. They're unhappy. And they look perfect on the outside. These are the Instagram people that we see. I get more and more women in my age demographic wanting to do fitness competitions because they saw it online. And I said, okay, make a bad situation worse. Okay, because as you get older, you're going to have the osteoporosis and like Sean's talking with the bone density issues. This is not a joke, people. So no, don't fast because you've already damaged your hormones. You might have low T3, right? You might have an underlying issue with your adrenal system. Maybe your adrenal glands only start to produce cortisol in the evening, and then you don't sleep. And then your sleep apnea, and then you're taking, so no, just eat for now, okay? Once you regulate your systems, we can talk about certain accordances for fasting, but not now, people, because there are super staffs, but I don't meet that many of them that are willing to let go of all of the gluttony and all of that stuff and treat their body like the temple that it should be. And that we're only going to live this life once in the body that we're in. So don't mess with it ever. I can't be that extreme. I don't got time for that. You want to live your best life, and we got the whole world under the locked door. Yes, I got to use code words. We under the locked door, and we got the Sharona, and we got all this kind of stuff, and people are scared, and people are depressed. I'm telling you, how you look right now don't matter. It's what you look like on the inside. So don't fast. Because you know that people fast to lose weight. They don't even know the science of autophagy.
Very true. A lot of people don't know about it. I love your pose after. So, okay, so tell us a little bit more. So you don't intermittent fast, got that. In terms of how you do eat. And also, obviously, you've had a huge impression on many, many people and clients. But how is the way you're eating now? Have you noticed these changes over the last 12 years in your own health? In maintaining your health?
I can say that, people often say that black don't crack, and that irritates the frack out of me. I said, yes, it do. Y'all need to have the right eyeballs, okay? It sags, it gets diabetes, it gets dark patches on the neck and moles from insulin resistance. People have crepey skin. I mean, you don't define your age by a single line of a wrinkle. That's not an age. It's the health in totality. And so as I'm in my 50s, if you were to mirror images of me every 10 years, you'd be like, okay, I look in the mirror and I'm like, woo, I still Stephanie. Yes, honey. But I've hit some pitfalls, right? I started having another problem that I have with fasting is the electrolyte imbalances people are having. I mean, there's several reasons why I don't like it. It's not just because not people not knowing the science of autophagy and weight loss, but for me, as I've gotten older, I noticed that I start swelling around the eyes. Honey, like understanding my electrolyte issues and my kidney issues was the game changer. You can't just do a ketogenic diet and like, oh, I'm not going to age. If you do it wrong, yes, you will. You really age. So the first things that I noticed by cutting out my carbs and sugars doing the standard ketogenic diet was I no longer got cavities. I had cavities every year. Okay, so a lot of people don't have the enzymes in their saliva to break down bacteria. I didn't have them. My mom doesn't have them, and my brother does. He could eat sugar straight and never get a cavity. And that stopped. So I was like, okay, that works. Before keto, I was very thin. So I was like 110 pounds, and the body fat percentage was I'm about 13% right now. And I was probably closer to 10 then, but I was very skinny. And my butt was like flat as a board. Now I can barely put my pants over my butt. I'm not even kidding. Right? I can't.
What a problem. What a problem.
Right? It is just plump and big and like, yeah, the skinny jeans don't work for my butt. And I guess a lot of black girls have that problem, but it's nice to have that problem as you get into your 50s. So aging has been very hard and weird transformation on the brain. So how I've changed over the years on this diet is that, I can still look at my skin and be like, okay, I'm aging for sure. Skin does not have the same dexterity as it as it did when you were younger. So this skin, if you pinch it, it'll go back slower. But me compared to someone else in my age group, you see a dramatic improvement from me to someone else in their 50s turning 53. And so I would say that I've noticed, I feel like I can breathe in my older age. I can feel like I can really feel a sense of self-love that I never felt before. I've always been a very strong person, and I would never admit defeat, but you don't feel right. You know what I mean? There's this sort of anxiety, not a real anxiety, but just a discomfort, even though you're faking it until you make it. Oh, I'm so strong, I'm so cool, I'm so tough. But when you get older, because you've taken care of your body, you just chill. You're just like, nothing can mess with you, because you know that you've done everything that you can in your life to live it to its fullest in a healthy way.
I love that. Wow. Poof, your inspiration, too much.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Wow. Well, okay. So clearly you've had an impact on your life positively through changing the way you eat. I hear so many things that you've said I relate to as a woman, definitely. Also as a woman who's turning 40 this year, and, just thank you. And you are goals. I mean, you are goals, and what you're speaking about, it's just so helpful. So definitely, I mean, when you speak about teeth and period, I mean, two human things, women things, I'm so on the same page as you. Thank you so much for all your sharing. Is there anything else that you might want to share before we end this about your own journey, for
I
people
could
who
just
are
say,
considering? Sorry.
what I feel now is that, I busted my knee, and it was devastating. And I remember when I had this realization after about 4 or 5 surgeries, and when I was skateboarding, I was a super athlete. I mean, you name it, I was the best in everything I did. I mean, really super athlete. And I woke up one day and I started crying. And this was in Sweden. I was like, I can't even walk. Like, I'm this super athlete and I can't even walk. And I'll never skate again. And I was known for being this famous skateboarder. And I was like, stop it, wake up. And so as I've gotten older, from the younger self to now the older self, I will just end it with what I was saying before. Don't lie to yourself. When I talk to people, let's say even my tech guy, and we were talking about Sharona, he was getting upset. He was like, you should be a nice, happy person and walk out the street with your muzzle on and do what they tell you to do. And he did it in anger towards me. And he did it in anger because I said, I think I'm going to move. And that upset him. And so, because we're really good friends, and that upset him, and his way to react was to lash out. And if you tell people the truth that they don't want to hear, and this comes down to how a lot of people perceive me, they will lash out because they haven't come to that sense of, I don't let anybody bully me anymore. Okay. One of the first streams that I ever did on YouTube, people said N-word, N-word, N-word. It was like 4 different people in the chat saying that to me. And you build up this defense. And that's the day people saw like energy, the energy girl, who they almost saw me as a ditzy girl, to like, damn, she got attitude. And I didn't understand myself even at that juncture, it's maybe like 6 years ago, that if I know who I am, why would I react? I'm obviously letting them ping on an emotion that I must have an insecurity with. And so now today that I'm on this health journey and trying to help inspire all kinds of people from every color and every background and every age and male, female, that as you get older, we need to live our best lives in these times, people, because they're going to get rough. And if you don't, I don't know how many people, when they're like, how come you don't believe this stuff that's going on? And I said, I don't believe the data that they're telling us because I've researched it. You don't. You're just turning on. So all of my videos on YouTube, I say, turn off your television. And what I mean by that is get to know who you are, because you think you do, you don't. You're distracted by looking over there. And I've realized, like I said to Sean, in consultations, people act like I'm grading them. They're like, oh, but I don't drink coffee, or I only drink a half a cup. I'm like, I'm not grading you. Just tell me the truth. And when you tell me the truth, I can give you all of myself, and I will do everything I can to help you. But you have to be honest, and you have to be honest to yourself. And that's the thing that I notice with people, is that we have learned that the second that we're born, we're told that we're not good enough. You're not tall enough. You're not short enough. You're not white enough. You're not black enough. You don't have a, look at this, a tan. People are like, you tan? Yes, I tan. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. You're all these things. And so you grow up with that completely tattooed in your brain, on your brain. And then therefore you will never be honest to yourself. But when you start to realize that there's so much foolery and lies and BS, and you're like, I just want to live a humble life. I live in a studio apartment in Hollywood. I could have made a lot of money long time ago, before, Sean, like you said, he saw me a long time ago. But that would give up my happiness, and I wouldn't know what was up and what was down. Now I know what's up and what's down. So from this juncture on, you guys, open your eyes. It's okay that we make mistakes. It's okay that we do stupid stuff. I do. We all do. I gave myself kidney crystals telling everybody to eat damn spinach. I own it. Okay? I talked about Dr. Berg many, many times on the internet, trashed his name to death. I called him, never mind. And he reached out to me to speak at his event. And I was like, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. And I was like, is this really you? He's like, yeah. And I was like, can I talk to you off this and on the phone? He said, yeah. I said, I've been talking about you. And he said, you have? Why? And I said, because I don't agree with the stuff that you do. And I want to apologize, because it's none of my business. You do what you want to do. And so I apologized to him publicly. And that's what I want to say. Don't just follow anybody. Don't follow me. I could be wrong. I might be right. Go and do your own investigations. Get to know who you are. Be honest and learn. You find that's something you want to intermittent fast. You intermittent fast all day long. That's your prerogative. But learn about it. Don't do it because somebody said, I lost weight doing it. Because 9 times out of 10, they lying. Okay? We all lie. We don't tell you when we're having a bad day. So get to know who you are and open your eyes. And we only live this one life. So don't be afraid to admit that you make mistakes. It feels like you took a good poop. It's great. Like, empty the bowels out, because everybody's so damn constipated. Literally, women with chronic constipation. You feel light as a feather. Nothing will bother you because you're honest to yourself, and you can live your best life mentally, emotionally, and physically. That's what I got to say.
Wow. So beautiful. Wow. And you are, again, as I said at the beginning, just such a perfect role model. The way that you've encouraged people with your honesty, with your truth, with your humble attitude, the way that you helped your mom heal. Thank you for doing that for her. And thank you for doing this for all of us. Thank you for your honesty. And thank you for your time. All the best, Stephanie. Take care of you.
Thank you so much. And I really just wish the best for everybody out there. Thank you. I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Yes.
Bye.